want to talk to you guys about is quote tool use at Parker Hannafin. So it's a project of mine that I've been working on. It is something that we think will have a pretty big benefit to increasing win rate, decreasing span, so the time that it takes to get a quote to someone, as well as making everyone involved more money. So, first thing is the biggest issue that we've always had was we have distributors and or customers who are on job sites, walking around with clipboards saying, what do you need? What can I get you? Do you need this? What kind of connections do you need? Jotting down all these questions that they have and all the needs that their customers have. And the second element to it is they all have a cell phone. So a lot of times people walk around on job sites and they can't have a laptop. You're not supposed to be walking around looking at your phone or even writing things down, but we know that it happens. So the problem that we have now is every quote that is submitted to our system is sent through an email. So when they email the quote request, goes in, someone inevitably sorts through these and says, okay, Mr. Customer 1, you're first, and you get that going. The problem is when you have thousands of distributors sending them to one email box, it takes a long time to get things back. So we know that in the business that we run, the faster you get a quote back, the more you win, regardless of price. So a lot of times what will happen is if a customer comes in and they have a competitor who has some sort of system where they can look up what you need right away, they'll say it's going to cost you $74 for this piece and go down a list of things that customer needs. Unfortunately, with our large business, we can't do that. Basically what they'll do is they'll run down through, they'll say, okay, I have all these things, I'll send an email to someone to get you a quote. That quote takes 3 days. Someone has their cell phone and they already gave it to them. You lose every single time. So, like I said, problem is low quote tool use at Parker Hannafin, which affects win rate that we have. Like I said, low win rates due to the time it takes to get those things, and users get frustrated. A lot of times we'll go through the process and someone will write down all these things in a distribution level. They'll go through and they'll say, okay, I got you all your information and you're 4 days late. Those customers won't even come back to you. They won't say, hey, can you come down, write down all these things that I need for the next time. They'll say the person who had their cell phone, the person who knew the prices and lead times for what we needed right away, gets the business every time. So changing times, faster pace, competitive markets, need new solutions. This is kind of something that is funny because you talked about it yesterday in signing into an automated system, and that automated system sending you a text message that says, hey, how did we do? So this system does the same thing, except it also allows the customers to use it like online shopping, just like you would on your phone. So you go through, you jot down all the things you need. It makes suggestions as to what kinds of connections you could have, different options that you might have, and different size and price ranges. And then it allows them to have a lead time for what they need. The second half of that is the ability to link things on there to say, okay, how satisfied were you with this trivial question that everyone comes up with? Rate us 1 to 5. But it also adds an element of what part of this process was the worst, what part of this process was the best. So you can continually improve on those things. The last part of the problem is there's no real incentive to use. In the past, we've offered like 2, 3, 5% discounts on things like this, but unfortunately the process that is out there is clunky. It doesn't work well. It's hard to use. It's hard to go through. So even though they could get 2% off, customers would just say, look, it's too hard to use. I'd rather pay full price than get a 2% discount on something that I can't use. So the obtain message, Imagine the solution you see for the problem identified. My solution is making a user interface that's easy to use, that looks like Amazon, that looks like every other online shopping that you have. Notify all internal and external parties of the changes to this system. So if we go through and say, trust us, we improved this system, you can do 10 more things than you could before, and it's way better than it was, no one's going to believe you. So you have to, load something out there that says, here's something easy to use, and this is why. Take a look at it. If you hate it, let us know. If you like it, let us know what you like about it. So repeating and continuing the problem solve process to, once again, take that information back and say, I need to fix this, I need to fix this, and address those things. So what's at stake? Currently, there is approximately $1.1 million a month of business that goes through this exact same process. Taking into consideration that those are 100% MRO business, and that is including what we feel is 40% opportunities that we're losing because it's taking so much time to get these back. So we're suffering at 40%, distribution's probably suffering at 50 to 60%, totaling about $2 million. With this solution, we're looking at a minimum of $1.5 million a month in gaining those opportunities that we're losing because of the slow response time. And then increasing market share obviously means in a lot of cases that you'll be able to buy products and or materials at a lower cost because you're using more of them. So get some sort of price break for using more of distributors' materials. So why is usage low? Like I said, we're using an outdated email system. A lot of people are super comfortable with it. It's really easy for someone who sits in an office, that's on an inside sales, that's not out in the field getting all this information. So an outside sales representative will go into a site, get all this information, and they'll either email it or send it back to someone internal. They'll type an email and say, Parker, I need this product. Instead, you take that out of the equation, you take that secondary process out, and you allow them to use a smartphone or just go back to their own computer, upload that information, or do it on the site and give them that information. It needs to be as easy as possible because right now competitors are using some sort of hybrid process to where they may not have a system that is, just plug it in just like online shopping, but they will have a process that says, if I go back and submit this goes into an automated system and spits something back out to me. So we're just kind of streamlining both of those processes. What these improvements lead to. So this is kind of just a graph showing, an affordable option as well as a very convenient option is what we're aiming for. Other competitors might have a more expensive option or a more expensive product, but they also have a little bit of a convenience factor, and a lot of times we'll pay for that. So if you're not the best price, maybe you got them to quote the fastest, and that can go a long way, and they'll make that decision just based on having the information. Whereas right now we're probably somewhere into where the competitor C and competitor B are, as far as being maybe a little bit affordable, but horribly inconvenient because you don't have the ability to get pricing back to them quickly. So imagine the solution. This is just a quick phase map of what the implementation plan looks like. Improve the user interface, again, make it more like online shopping. Integrate the checkout process. So all of these users have access to an internal system that allows them to place purchase orders directly. So the old method also included, once you got your email back with your pricing on it, a lot of distributors would send in a hard copy of something they typed up that says, I want to buy 50 pieces of this. Whereas this system will literally just be like a checkout process in online shopping to say, I need this hose bundle with these bundle configurations. Here's my price, here's my lead time, and then it submits, automatically goes through and sends them back a confirmation with a ship date on it, just like any other normal system. So phase 2, transition some key accounts to the new system. There are a few users on there now. There need to be probably 7 different accounts added so that you get a better representation of what we need to do better on. And then part of phase 2 is rolling out usernames and passwords to every other distributor that we have. This is kind of ripping the band-aid off in making them use this process, but not giving them the ability to come back and say, I have an excuse why I can't use it. So roll this out, send them a username and a temporary password and say, this is how you log in, take a look at it, see what you think. By this date, you will be transitioned and this is how you're gonna have to use it. So that's phase 3, transition all accounts to the automated system, and then keep testing the interface for improvements. So, who needs to be notified? Internally, we need to notify all quotes help personnel and pricing managers, as well as anyone in customer service that might be getting a call saying, hey, my password doesn't work, or hey, I can't log into the system's down. Then letting the distributors know who those key accounts are that will start out, and then letting all the distributors know, here's your username, password, here's all the information you need to log in, and then letting all of the market know. So once you go through this, once you know that you have a really good option, you could post, social media, you could post on our website and say, we have this tool for use, it's expected to gain you X amount of business. So, being a change agent. So this is, I think, the most important part, because a lot of people are very used to using email. They're very used to getting a quote back the same way that they always have. You have to, even if you hate it, be encouraging and let them know that this is for the better and it will make them more money. Letting all of them know how much more money that they could possibly be making. A lot of them are aware of it, but some of them aren't. Some of them think, okay, well, we're just not good enough, or we know that our pricing might be good. We're just bad at getting a lead time back to them. So then pushing out more incentive programs. So once it's easy to use, taking away the ability for them to say, it's just inconvenient, I'd rather pay full price, giving them something that's easy to use and incentivizing them for using it. That's all. Any questions? No?
No, sir.